Dave with Taboo Customs. Today, this video, we're going to be swapping out a door handle here on this 96 Cherokee behind me with a new one off of a donor Jeep. So let's get started. All right, so the reason for this, and might be what happened to yours, is the button that you push from the outside here is basically pushed in the door. It got overextended. So we're going to be replacing that. The first thing we're going to need is a couple of Phillips screwdrivers or bits. You'll have some small Phillips screwdriver or Phillips screws in your trim for the handle here. You'll have two there, one in the center. Alright, once you get that, you've got a small flat screwdriver if you have power locks on yours. Maybe. So the easiest there with this power lock is what we did is, I'm sorry for the shoddy camera work, there's two tabs here. We just pried up on that so the whole assembly kind of comes out. Alright, so next we're going to grab this handle off the inside of the door. There'll be two screws underneath. They should be, well, maybe a large Phillips if you use large Phillips. Okay, so now with that off, what we're going to do is we're going to start down here at the bottom and we're going to pop the door, the inner door skin loose. Just work your way around. There'll be pins. We're hoping to not have to pull this off, but we may end up pulling it off. Okay, so it does that. Okay. Alright, yeah, you just have to kind of work around that piece there. We will have to pull this back. We don't need to pull it completely off. Just pull it down to there. And now with that we can access the first bolt, and we'll show you that here in just a second. Before we get down there and show you that bolt and how to get to this other bolt, because there's two bolts holding that handle on, let's run through, I guess, how the handle on the inside is going to look, because it's difficult to show you. Now there's only one linkage here, and this is how the setup is, and this is off of our donor Jeep. This is the latch assembly that's right here. That hits the strike. There's only one linkage that connects those two, that when you push in, it pushes down on, or pushes in on that and down on the, it's hard to do, but down on this to basically open the door. Whenever you get in here, you're gonna have to push this over, and then you can pull these rods out like that. Now the one on this Jeep, since essentially this back here broke off, this whole assembly just kind of fell off inside the Jeep. So we're gonna have to fish it out of there and do that basically the same thing. Now be careful with this little plastic clip and popping it off, because they do like to break. So we'll put a link in the description of this video to some. We've had to buy some in the past, and some of the other videos we've done, like on the rear gate handle, those often break, and that's the reason why you'll see some failures. And if you can't open your door, like your latch is working correctly, but you can't open the door from the outside, chances are that's possibly what's happened. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the bolts that you're going to have to remove. Okay, to get to the 2 bolts, as I've mentioned, as I said, there's one like right in here, really easy to get to. These are 10mm bolts. They can be rusted, but hopefully they'll come out clean. Now the second one is actually going to be this hole right here, and it's going to be blocked by the latch. So we're going to have to take that latch, all the bolts off, and we'll slide it down. But once you get that slid down, you can put a socket through that hole and get to that 10mm bolt in there. Now you may have a plug in here. For that, you'll have to pop that out just with the screwdriver, but for now we're good to go. And we'll take out these 3 bolts. These should be Torx. They should be T27 Torx. And as I mentioned, with those out of the way, you should be able to slide it down. There we go. And reach through there. See if I hit it or not. I think the pieces. Now be careful that you don't drop the bolts down inside the door, or else you'll be fishing. Actually, these are nuts. Midway, apparently they changed from nuts or bolts to having nuts on them. I don't know why. Once you get that loosened up, you should be able to just pop that off from the outside. In our case, ours was a little bit rusted, so it didn't want to pull off. You can see how the rust inside the handle has already started to break it up. And here is actually what failed in this handle. The little plastic pieces holding on there just gave out from pushing on it for so many years. Okay, for us it's going to be easier. We actually just went ahead and pulled this top one off, since our rod is still connected in there, and the black one is good. So we'll go ahead, we'll put that through the outside of the door. Get our bolt started. All right. We've got to reconnect the rod, which for that we'll have to put this strike back up in its correct place. Easiest way to do that is to get this little piece here that sticks through the door back up into place. Stick one of the bolts screws in. Now in this latch here, there's no adjustment to these latches, so you don't have to worry about making sure it goes back in the right place. The bolts here are coned, so it's going to only really go in one place. This adjustment's all in the strike bolt in the Jeep itself. Okay. And we'll get this last little bar hooked up, basically push it through the hole and then turn that piece down just like on this one here. You put it in the hole and then this locks over the rod just to lock it in place. All right, so for reinstallation, you'll probably want to take a look at your pins here. Replace, like if a lot of them are bad, you're probably going to want to replace some. You can probably go on, I'm sure, find them on Amazon. You'll have to, depending on how far you went with the disassembly here, get your latch or your inside door release back through the trim. Okay. Okay, so you got to put the top in first, get it up over the lip. Now, if you have like a Cherokee Country model, I think it is, a few models, they actually had a separate piece up here at the top that this piece would still pop out. It'd like pop out from under that as well. I think there's pins in here as well. You can leave that piece up there hanging, or you can pull it out and lift it out pretty much the same way. Get back in, make sure you get your holes lined up because you don't want to be banging on the plastic connectors and breaking them if you don't have them lined up. Okay. Now we can pop our window switch back in place. Okay. Okay, get that back in. All right. And all right, the last one's the two large Phillips screws holding your inside pull handle on, armrest, whatever the heck you want to call it. All right. All right, so that does it for this. We've got the handle installed. Of course, had as usual, any good Jeep project, you know, we had to redirect a little bit here. You know, in hindsight, probably don't want to try to use an old handle. Might as well just buy a new handle. Honestly, they're pretty cheap unless you're really looking to save your dollars and pennies. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll put a couple of links in this video for a handle, for a couple of things that you might run into that you might need whenever you're doing this project. So check those out if you're looking for something that you might break along the way. And thank you for watching. As always, a like or subscribe is greatly appreciated.